So I wanted to go live. There's a few things I haven't discussed that I've been thinking about for a little bit of time now. And one of them is, what on earth is TLM writing on about? And then I also wanted to discuss grifting, because I haven't done a full stream of that and I wanted to. I haven't. So TLM Ryan yesterday makes a video essentially being like, hey guys, why don't we just not go to war with each other? Why don't we just pretend everything's all kumbaya and stuff? It's like, I understand the sentiment from a political perspective, because I do that in politics. I do that in politics with a lot of people. Chris Jackson is a pro-Trumper. I'm against Trump. Stephen Cox is a Catholic integralist. I'm against integralism. I'm a hardcore libertarian. But when it comes to certain people like that, I take down the sword. Oh, speak of the devil. Roast time. When it comes to certain things, I agree that Catholics need to look beyond the differences and fight in a certain way to achieve our goals, which is the social reign of Christ in the world. But when it comes to the faith, we can't make compromises. Every single time in my life I've ever had to make a compromise in the faith and make things less black and white, the worse it is for me. And I don't know why it is that way. And I'm not saying the argument is from experience. I'm saying that's actually, I think, the way Catholics are supposed to act. And being a cradle Catholic, being brought up by parents who were raised in a pre-Vatican II way. Vatican II happened while my mom and dad were in high school. Good morning, Catkin. Well, they were in high school, so they had a certain sense of the way it was before the madness of the Vatican Council. And largely what happened to me growing up is we would get kicked out of parishes and move from Catholic. Talk about radiation. Does Jimmy Aiken ever not talk about like Star Wars and Star Trek stuff? Moving from household or from parish to parish and from house to house. We've lived in the same house now for like 27, 28 years or something, maybe more. Let's see. 1995. Yeah, it's about 31 years. Oh, good morning, Christine. It wasn't until we came to where we live currently that we had a firm sense of stability. It was always like this ongoing war. My father wrote letters to his priests in the early 80s. Does the church still believe in no salvation outside the church? And when you get the you listen to my content while I'm at work, which is very stressful. Instead of stress, I'm having it. Dude, the last episode was pure brain rot. It was embarrassing to do. It was horrible. Anyway, but throughout all that time, the one thing that remained firm was our commitment to the Catholic faith. Like when my parents had 6, 7 kids, people were like, "Okay, when are you going to stop having kids?" When my parents had 13 kids, they had stopped. They'd given up. Like you kept yourself on a trajectory and you went with it. Like, to me, that's what I see the SSPX is doing. They're on a trajectory to preserve what was started by Lefebvre, and come the hell or high water, they're going to keep the trajectory. But when we're talking about like the Pachamama event, we have to ask ourselves, what is actually our goals? What is our trajectory? Now, TLM Ryan says that the thing we're doing is trying to fight modernism. But it's not clear to me what modernism is half the time. My theory on modernism is it's the scientific reduction of the world to it being something you can understand and impose on people. Most people don't take it that way. They take it on the other spectrum. It's the rising up of the natural cultures into the church, almost like a parasitical relationship. So we can't agree on what modernism is, especially because if human beings work according to their brains, essentially, and they tell themselves narratives in order to live in a world of truth, and everyone does this. So TLM Ryan has an episode out from about 4 months ago where he says you only have to listen to the infallible teachings of the Pope, which has never been the Church's teaching. Even Vatican II doesn't accept that. But when you have that narrative, it all makes sense. Why we can't fight each other, why we have to all accept a larger version of Catholicism than a smaller version. But what the black and white of traditional Catholicism actually does is it forces you to conform in a much more specific way. Like, as a libertarian, I don't enjoy the social reign of Christ, because half the people who've ever talk about it if it is a fascist totalitarian dictatorship being imposed upon us by a president. But so I had to reinterpret the entire doctrine in a leftist libertarian natural monarchy, natural elite way. And it works. And if Abate ever wants to know what my contribution, my original intellectual contribution is, that is what it is. It's to reinterpret the entirety of trad right-wingism into left-wing libertarianism. I don't mean like left-wing libertarianism in the sense of like the communist version where they just want to smoke weed and property is evil. I mean it within the context of Catholic moral teaching that private property is a divine right, the Roman Novarum like 4 or 6 or 5, and every man works to be paid money. Again, Roman Novarum. The bigger issue then, and that we all disagree on, is tactics. I know Abate's lost his mind. It's hilarious. Abate is objectively hilarious. Like, if you don't know who Peter Caravella is, who's like this literally insane person who will read and do whatever the chat says, they're like, run around the room 3 times in your underwear for $5, and like, you got to do it, man. And then he does it. Like, that's actually who Abate is. He's just not quite there yet. I just got to keep on pushing him. Rerum Novarum is the way. We all disagree on tactics because we all don't have the same understanding of how to get from point A to point B. I think the natural elite is the only way to get from point A to point B. And if you're a integralist like Mr. Cox, or you're a big fan of rah America like Chris Jackson, and of course I'm not saying it in a negative, I'm saying it in the positive way. Like, I'm trying to present these people as actual positive lights. Then we can't agree based on tactics. We only agree on end goals. And that's what TLM Ryan and I think most of the trads disagree. Is Abate on the same team as the traditionalists? I don't think so. I think Abate is literally grifting because, as I said 5 months ago, turning the microphone on and looking into a camera is literally the most greatest thing ever for stupid people. And like, the more I think about this, the more I wish I didn't come back, because it's like a brain cancer that you're giving yourself. But at the other hand, what someone I actually look up to and respect sent me that DM, and he says, "Yeah, but you started something, and why don't you finish it instead of leaving all the people there who are just going to watch everything anyway? They might as well watch it through you." And that'd be our friend, the meaning of chicken. And it's like, yeah. So what is the goal? What is the goal of reacting so negatively to the Pachamama event? It's trying to really press people into, are you actually a traditional Catholic? That is, you believe in the black and white of the Catholic faith, and that worshiping other gods is such an ultimate, we can't do this, that anyone who doesn't immediately jump on it and destroy it and attack it isn't on the team. Like, Taylor Marshall has this wonderful thing, and it's fantastic, actually. It's really well thought out. The whole, if you don't pray the rosary, you're not on the team. That's a great idea. If you don't hate Pachamama, you're not on the team. Well, what about the people who dragged their feet for 6-7 months in hating Pachamama? I enjoy rants, but I wish you no success in gaining a following, since you already gave Chris Jackson a pass, and you'll fall into the same pride trap that the No Fisordo podcasters fall into. Don't worry, I'm never going to have a success. This will never be a success. I purposely have self-sabotaged in so many ways. Like, for example, last night's content was pure brain rot. Like, if you thought about it logically, there was about 15 minutes of content there, and I turned it into an hour and a half. Because it was just me wanting to talk about Christine Harrington because I don't like her. That's not content. That's like pure, like, entertainment. That's not really content. I give Chris Jackson a pass because Chris Jackson treats me like a person. And from the other side of the perspective, I'll get to the other side of the perspective. I want to talk about that too, the whole grifting thing, because there's actual reasons why I do what I do, and I've thought them out. But to get back to the Pachamama, how do I know that TLM Ryan is on my team? Oh, because he likes the Latin Mass. Murray Rothbard, who was an atheist, liked the Latin Mass. Murray Rothbard, who was an atheist, said that every year he listened to Bach's Mass in B. Or no, the Passion of Christ. He thought it was a great cultural achievement of all mankind, Bach's Passion. Is he really on the same team as me? Probably not. But there's a lot of people who come along with you on the bus, and they'll go 90% of the way. So they're 90% on the same team. But it doesn't help us when we get to the 90% point to then have to address whether or not we are on the same team. It's much easier for people, especially younger people, just to see things black and white. And not seeing things black and white is going to be a huge problem when we have to actually discuss bigger issues. Let's say we actually get the council going, and all of a sudden everyone's going to start saying, oh, you don't have the right to do a council again, and you got to pull out the theologians, and it's like, yeah, it's a never-ending war. If you want to defend not making a pope, you always can. Just like if you want to defend not being sedevacantist or not being traditional Catholic, you can. When I came to the conclusion that you could infinitely defend any position you wanted to defend and sound reasonable, just like I've seen Dan Davis defend the Venezuela kidnapping. It's in a YouTube short. I think that's an absolutely horrible and atrocious thing. I saw a fellow Catholic who's every bit as much Sadie, if not more Sadie than me, defend something I think was morally reprehensible. We're not going to agree. We're going to have a massive war. And it's not going to finish. So either we have, there's no resolution possible. So either we have to be okay with there being no resolution possible, or we have to continue just to move ahead and pretend that we're not fighting. But to a lot of viewers, pretending we're not fighting validates the evil that other people have done. It validates Taylor Marshall being having a PhD in philosophy and putting less effort than a high schooler into writing a book. How are we supposed to validate a movement that is as diverse as Bishop Sanborn stuck in his ways because he's an angry French-made American priest, to like your ecumenical Bishop Hiverinus, to your trad podcaster who believes only his opinion is right, to the guy in the pew who doesn't really care. He just thinks this is all great content. That's the movement. Half of the people in the movement don't care. And the other half who do care, they don't go online because they're not interested in that world. They're not the audience. When I went to visit the Texas days, we had a normal human being conversation. I tried to talk about online things because I didn't have anything to say, and I kind of turned people off. What people actually wanted to talk about. Wait, I don't even have my microphone on. I'm retarded. When you're retarded, then you are stupid. I'm using the camera microphone. Man, talk about retarded. When I went down to Texas, I was taught. Oh my goodness! Delete the stream. No, you just rediscovered that every single traditional Catholic group is the same as every other traditional Catholic group. You didn't really know whether they were real Catholics or not. They all act the same. They all dress the same. Oh, thank you, Cat Cans. And how would I know? Well, you can't tell unless there's something that would force or bring unity together or disunity. Again, that's the Pope. So if we do this whole continuing the TLM Ryan thing where it's kumbaya, everybody get along together, all we're doing is we're allowing the bad actors like Brian Holdsworth, who just makes up things. He does all sorts of original ideas to tag along with us, but we don't want him. We don't want his audience. We want a smaller, purer, more intelligent audience, and then we want a lot of people to follow that audience. If you don't refine your audience and you don't try to kick out the bad people, I don't see how this gets better. I don't want half-hearted converts. The debate over who comes closest to that fullness is in a sense pointless. But the goal is to make a pope. That's the whole goal. The whole goal of our movement in our time in history is to reestablish the papacy. That's it. So if anything that doesn't move us towards reestablishing the papacy, which might mean sabotaging half of all the Catholic accounts online and attacking half of all the podcasters until they quit, anything that doesn't get us towards that goal is negative. And I've deleted my entire account before, so I don't want to give people the impression that I'm in here for the long run. I'm in here because I'm bored more than anything else. If I was married, excuse me, I wouldn't be podcasting. What I'd be doing is taking care of my kids, and all my free time I'd be spending writing my books and music and playing video games because I wouldn't have all this excess free time. It's clear there's no valid pope. You can't be an idolater and be the pope. You can't even be elected pope if you're an idolater. And we have no evidence that he ever publicly abjured the sin. Because we got to remember, heresy, idolatry is a sin that leads you outside the church. It's a sin. It's something that people do. And so it's like we're not even having the same conversation half the time. There's half of the trads are like, what was his name? Kennedy Hall. Kennedy Hall was just like, you can't expect a priest to be more Catholic than his pope. You can't? Well, growing up, we were always more Catholic than our priest. Always. We always tried to understand the faith and work on it and get to heaven. And our priest was like, hey guys, did you know that if you made a puzzle, then like there would be missing pieces? Literally, he would talk about missing pieces in a puzzle for his homily. Father Andy, that would, I think, rest in peace. And he was actually a real priest, I think. He was either made a priest just after the new mass came out or just before, I forget. It can be known. It's not a dogmatic fact. It's just the world's most obvious fact. It's like, do we have a country? I tried to explain this to Mr. Jeff Gassman. We don't have a country. A country is something that works towards a common good, namely the education of children and the prosperity of its people. And the country doesn't do any of that. This country, like, if you're prosperous, guess what? You better have a good accountant. You raise children and you just get heaped on more taxes. You don't get less taxes because you have to keep spending more, unless you're in Florida, apparently. And in which case, it's completely in reverse. So Florida maybe is a country, but America's not a country. You have to tell the thing about what it does. So Leo the 14th, Leo, is going to completely destroy the traditional movement. But why? Because half of the people, we don't even know if they're traditionalists. It's like, TLM Ryan is correct to say, like, why are we sabotaging each other? But he's wrong to say we're not on the same team. He doesn't understand. We're mortal enemies with you trying to tell you to come on our team. If you're not someone who completely rejects Leo, a Catholic influencer is so far away from Catholicism, this isn't funny unless that person is a saint. And no saint would be an influencer. That's actually a true statement. Because the whole influencer culture is so what the influencer culture does, it's like books on tape and real-time television or reality television, but done by normies. That's what it is. It's there to essentially help you get through your day and to fill up the empty spaces where you used to talk pointlessly to other people. Human beings love a lot of white noise. And so like influencer culture. I'm sorry, most people can't handle more than an hour or two of actual intelligent conversation. And then they just want brain rot. Like that's why we have sports. I talk endlessly about sports. We used to talk about sports all the time. Then we all realized at some point sports was a waste of time. Sports is objectively a waste of time. You should do sports though, because human beings enjoy wasting time. Yeah. Well, I mean, any of the traditional bishops would be suitable. State of a contest probably wouldn't elect a MAGA pope because MAGA is kind of retarded and dying. By the way, MAGA is actually originally a libertarian movement co-opted by Ronald Reagan. It's just a right-wing populist movement, and a lot of trads are right-wing populists. So, like, in a sense, yes, but how about make Catholicism great again? MACA? No. Make America Catholic again? Yeah. No, this is true. This is true. So to summarize the TLM Ryan point, we're not on the same team. We're just on very similar teams. And whenever someone else shows up, we're on the same team against them. Like against the Protestants, all the trads are on the same team. But when the trads talk to the trads, we're not on the same team. And we can't be because we fundamentally believe in different realities. Taylor Marshall, I don't think, has ever lived a Catholic life. And you say, you can't say that about someone. It's like, but I've watched him for years. I've watched Taylor Marshall more than I watch any other person. I watched his whole stupid book rollout where he was talking about it for 6 months in advance when he was actually writing it and not when he was like refining it. There's something you miss that that is very different because TLM Ryan actually is aware of this, which most trads aren't. And there's something that you miss when you didn't grow up Catholic. You didn't get steeped into a long-term understanding of how the church thinks about things. And I notice Abate is the same way. When I was finishing my time in college, I used to be able to just simply assume how the church thought, say things, and then later prove myself to be correct. And I remember that because I would encounter people who would just make up stuff like Abate does today, and then just assume they were right. It's really weird to me. So when I go online and I see all these people, they haven't. You have to, in a sense, like a slow cooker, you have to slow cook yourself into the Catholic faith. That's the only way to do it. I don't know. You have to listen to 100 lives of the saints. You have to read, you have to just like sit there in the pews and listen. And like that's what actual that's the actual Catholic culture. It's just sitting in there and marinating and watching the kind of abstract art, which is the Latin Mass. And that's why these people who cognitively talk about the Latin Mass, it doesn't help people. It doesn't help them to talk about the Latin Mass. You have to kind of sit there and just soak it in. It's like being in a relationship with a woman. At some point, you just gotta kind of like sit there and be like, I'm fine just sitting here. Hey, I'm usually a silent viewer of podcasts. This podcast I pay money for, and I'm still a silent viewer. Hi, are you in? Have you ever noticed this about the traditional clergy? The traditional clergy, I have never encountered a city priest or bishop that was completely retarded. I've very rarely encountered a Novus Ordo priest that was not completely retarded. Like the biggest problem I have with the comparisons is I see a huge difference in intellect, in the way they carry themselves, in their manner of acting and speaking, even with Father Geckel, and I have my problems with Father Geckel, but Father Geckel is miles ahead of the 99% of Novus Ordo priests. Like, why is that? Like, our clergy is actually a special group of people we need to rally around. And this is another problem I have that I think Talem Ryan missed out on this. And that is that our bishops are our captains. Like, at some point, all the influencer stuff has to just, whatever the bishop says is what I do. He's our Lord. He's our natural leader. He's our captain. So if I'm a Bishop Sanbornite and Bishop Sanborn, who isn't always right about everything, he's wrong on a lot of stuff. If he's like, we're not having a conclave, I, as a Bishop Sanborn follower, just have to simply sit there and stew in it and be like, yeah, we're not having a conclave. Bishop Sanborn said so. God has to kill Bishop Sanborn, and God will. But like, the individuality we enjoy as influencers and podcasters, at some point that goes away because we have natural leaders who actually stand up and speak on our behalf, and we just stand behind them. I really don't believe that sin makes you stupid, but it also seems to be 100% true, so I don't know. Yeah, Christian nationalism is a belief in itself, but it's also a dying, it's a reaction to an actual problem that no one else is reacting to. And so, like, I have sympathy for Chris Jackson being MAGA sympathetic, or even Stephen Cox being integral sympathetic, or American Reform for being Franco sympathetic. I don't even know how you're a Catholic and are Franco sympathetic. Or Corey, this American state deprivationist, being fascist sympathetic. Because there's an actual problem that they're trying to resolve. I just think they're not going to resolve anything by what they do. Yes. Yeah, all traditional Catholics as a whole are retarded. They're very stupid. They don't understand how to present themselves. They're hilarious though. See, the thing I love about traditional Catholics is you can pull up to mass and see a mother get out with 9 kids, and the 9 kids will look at you like suspiciously, and it's the funniest thing in the world. Like, you can literally just go up to them and start talking to them, and they won't know what to do. They're horribly socially awkward. It's fantastic. So, like, you can turn that into a funny thing. You don't have to be like, oh, I don't know. Well, what am I supposed to do here? I'm me Catholic, you Catholic together. It's, I mean, that's literally what I did to the people in Texas. I showed up and I was like, hey, is this the refugees from Vatican II's Not a Real Council local club? And the mother that I was talking to, she's like, huh? Like, are you guys real cities in the flesh and blood? She's like, yeah. Who are you? No, like, I'm just having way too much fun. It's like, why wouldn't you? Because they're all socially awkward, which is amazing because all Catholics they form an in-group, the traditional Catholics, and they know what to look for in their heads because they see the world very black and white. So traditional Catholics generally see the world in terms of, are you on my team and you're one of us? You're literally a member of my family. Or are you on their team and I have to have this kind of barrier between us? It's like when I used to have Protestant friends because I played League of Legends with them. I went and visited them once. My mom was like, why would you have Protestant friends? I was like, because I played League of Legends. She's like, yeah, but you're a Catholic. Why would you have Protestant friends? I'm like, I don't know. Because I made friends with people. Because I just do stuff like that. Because I'm a weirdo. And she's like, my son's doing that? What? What are my children doing? Because it's so foreign to the mind of a traditional Catholic to not have an in-group and an out-group. We don't talk about those sins, not in polite conversation. You don't know how to determine this stuff. There is no ordinary jurisdiction. I can give you where there's universal jurisdiction, but no one accepts that because I'm not a priest, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I say. That's another thing with traditional Catholicism. The individual people, it doesn't matter what they say. Did you watch the Bishop Pivarunis conversation with Kevin Davis? And Kevin Davis is trying to interrupt him, and like Bishop Pivarunis is just like, Huh. I'll just continue on with what I was talking about before. It's like, Kevin Davis, just shut up. It's a good thing. Just let it happen. Sin makes you stupid. Maybe. We'll say maybe because I don't want to like spend my whole life thinking how sin made all the people I make fun of stupid, but it is actually true when you think about the narcissism of like Christine Harrington. And I literally don't think she says an honest word ever because like it's that important for her to be important. But the difference between another point about TLM Ryan, we don't mind TLM Ryan because TLM Ryan's not a jerk or an ass. He's actually a very like calm, intelligent person. Same with Ryan Grant. I don't know how you hate these people. It's like they're just nice people. Like they're wrong, doesn't matter. Like you're not gonna just like you're wrong. Oh no, I converted. So like a lot of the Sadies online going after Ryan Grant a little harshly. Like he's not really the target. You go after people harshly who are harsh to you. You return the favor. So because Abate trolls you, you troll Abate. Because Abate wants to bully you, you bully Abate. But Ryan Grant doesn't bully people. So like there's no point in doing it. It's kind of weird. Anyway. So why do I take money on my live stream? I used to have an excuse before my big crash out. And the excuse was something that also Kevin Davis said, and it really irks me whenever I and Kevin Davis agree on anything. And that is, why should I put more effort into a show for someone else? I'm not getting paid for it. That's a crappy attitude. Like, I don't get paid any extra if the laundry is perfectly clean or 98% clean. I get paid the same amount of money. So why should I go to 100% clean laundry? And it's like, isn't the whole point of being Catholic and the whole little way to try and achieve perfection? Well, no, it's leave the trads who don't really fight us alone. Like TLM Ryan will dig his own grave because he will make content that we can destroy him over. I can do it anytime I want to. I know the videos. But like I don't get the sense that he's a mean person. Like he's willing to talk to Father Geckel in a mostly peaceful manner. So it's like, I mean, if you're willing to do that, we shouldn't like attack you. But if he was like got Father Geckel on, got some gotchas, then you should. I don't know, the David family incorporated. There's a lot of problems with the Davis family that a lot of people just don't care about. I don't know, there's probably problems with my family. Maybe it's best that I'm the only person in my family who does this show. Maybe if my dad did a show, he'd do the same thing that Dan Davis does. Maybe. So they had this attitude of, oh, well, I'm not getting paid. You're not paying me. While having a Patreon that they get paid. But what it is it's an excuse to be lazy. Like there's a certain amount of your life that you should give to being lazy and give to the brain rot. But at another point, there's a certain amount of your life that you should actually just try hard because you're a Catholic. You should just try to do better. And I don't understand the attitude. Yeah, who's not an insane city? If you're on the internet long enough, you will go insane. You can't help it. The internet was made for insane people. But the attitude of, oh, like, I'm not getting paid for it. I'm not going to show up and on time. I'm not going to put effort in. I'm not going to have smart things to say. I'm not getting paid. I'm not putting work into this. That's a form of pride. It's a form of self-serving. Like, I'm just doing this for myself. Well, then don't press live. Just watch a stream by yourself with your friends. Like, you don't have to turn everything into content. This is one reason I don't like the Sailcast. I think the Sailcast is a terrible show. Because I think they should put more effort in. Well, it's not going to happen. So they just say, it's not happening. We don't have the time. So we just will say we don't accept money. Therefore, it's okay. And I think sometimes people should just put effort in. I don't know. So I do that. I try to hold myself to be a little more accountable to try and force myself to write new bits, try to force myself to make more edits, to spend more time in the creative part. Because, like, yeah, you should try to make money in the sense that you should try to put forward an effort so that it's worth more for your viewers. Now, it is true I pay for podcasts, I do pay for shows because I like the shows and I want those shows to continue. And someone said to me, like a year and a half ago, why can't I donate to you? And I was like, so when I delete this show, I won't feel bad for you. That's what I was thinking at the time. And it's me, me, me. And so this is part of the reason why anyone who's an influencer is kind of cooked. Like, if you're an influencer, you've kind of put yourself down into the wrong way. Yeah, I know that people like to be taught new stuff, but I had learned the hard way that one thing you can only teach so much. You only know so much. So when you do content like that, you will just start repeating yourself endlessly. So I found that was the thing a lot with Catholic Family Podcast when they did their political shows, their Monday mornings with Matt and Kevin, is they would say the same exact thing every single week. Oh, the empire's bad. Catholicism is good. Oh, let's be mad about Nick Fuentes, right? They did that for like 25 episodes in a row, like half a year. That's how it felt to me. Excuse me. And so why is that? As well, stupid people who don't spend hours studying, reading, learning, can only talk about a few subjects, and they can't even talk about it that well. Like Abate I'd put in this category. I put myself in that category, to be honest. I have a lot of thoughts, but I'm also single and have time to like think about it. I move away from the mic to breathe. Yeah, right. As if I'd ever be that intelligent. So if you did a show, let's say, you did a Catholic show. I do sacred music. I could do an hour-long presentation on sacred music and maybe another one in a month from then. And then I would be out of content on sacred music. And that's one of my hobbies. That was something I actually studied. I could do an hour or two on libertarian theory of sedevacantism. Hour or two, and then I'd be done with that. So really, we only have like 6 or 7 hours of content in our brain, and the rest of it is whatever happened in the news. And that's the actual fact of the matter. Like, if you read one Chris Jackson article, you've read 10. Because it's impossible for human beings who aren't geniuses, who aren't the top thinkers, to come up with constant new material. You can listen to the Dr. Peter Jordanson's lecture on Pinocchio, and you never need to listen to anything he ever says ever again. Because that has enough of what he's trying to say to that you never have to ever return to that pool again. You can just go watch baseball the rest of your life. So when you approach content from the content creator side, you have to like draw things out to an unnatural length. And that's where part of the problem of grifting comes in. See, I don't think the grift is actually about money anymore. It's just funny to say that. That's why I say it. But that's not actually what the grift is. The grift is the dopamine of being important, which money helps. Viewers help, subs help, comments help. Having a better camera helps. Having a room set up helps. Having a better microphone helps. But it's about being important. It's about being someone. It's about, like, you got to think about it this way, right? A lot of us content creators, like probably 80%, are absolute losers. That's all we are. We're losers who are a platform for smarter people. And it just keeps more eyes on the smart people. Like, if you look at the state of content creators, Louis Verrecchio, he's 100%. Mardark's 100%. Kevin Davis, he's terrible. Sede Picante pretty bad, right? Because Catholic Crusader film's pretty bad. We'll throw them under the bus too. But what it does is it keeps enough content, enough white noise going so that you can be like, okay, now I'll go listen to Bishop Sanborn. Now I'll go listen to Bishop Pivarunas, who should probably do more online content. But they don't get in the way of us and we don't get in the way of them because we are what other people listen to when they don't have the actual good smart people on. So what is avoiding Babylon? It's literally just filler content for people who just want to keep those thoughts in their head. It's like if you ever listen to a sports podcast, you don't have to watch a game. You just hear people talk about, oh, this year the team's looking really good. Shohei Ohtani is looking like Shohei Ohtani. Oh man, the Dodgers are going to win another World Series. You're like, yes, winning a World Series happens 5 months from now. So like it's actually pointless to talk about it, but we'll talk about it because it's white noise that fills the air. And human beings love listening to human voices. They're addicted to human voices. Most traditionalists are very you do you, which is a liberal stance, not Catholic. This leads to cafeteria Catholicism. We are not in the same boat. I'm very much a liberal in this sense, but I also think that you need to have a certain amount of personal responsibility with your life. Like you have to actually say your prayers. You have to actually do your part. I don't think the issue is much with the you do you. It's the fact that you do you becomes an excuse for other things. Like you do you. Don't go to confessions or don't go to stations. You do you. But then, are you really being a Catholic? And also, most traditionalists don't get along with other traditionalists because they all want to be. Every traditionalist wants to be a podcaster. So in my family, when we watch television, television is a podcast. We turn on the TV and everyone just starts talking. It's really funny. Like the television itself, like what I do with the clips is what my parents and my two of my siblings do every night. So they've been watching before Lent. They're watching Alfred Hitchcock shorts. Like he made a bunch of a few 120-minute little shorts. They'll watch a short with dinner and just talk the entire time, just reacting to, oh, look at this person, look at this setup. Have we seen this scenery before? Like, it completely destroys immersion. But that's all trads. All trads know enough to talk about what they see. So every single traditionalist could sit down and talk about the Pachamama event. It was pretty much a nothing burger, by the way. The whole Abate, I mean, not Abate, I'm like reading the chat. The whole Pachamama and Prevost worshiping it was literally a story that didn't matter. Sorry, Chris Jackson. But what it does tell you is how dumb people are. That's why it's important that we push that story and that we all made fun of it. Because this was the most obvious thing. Like half of the intelligent content creators already knew this was going to happen. They just were waiting. Like Matt Gasper says, oh, I was waiting. Father Murs says, I was waiting. It's like, oh, yeah. We all know these people are insane. What we don't know is how we get one who's sane. But if your business model is to stay on the side of insanity, that's where the grifting comes in. It's impossible to not. You don't have to give me money. It just does what it, or life is just what it is. The only reason why you should ever give me money is just because you want me to keep on podcasting, but I'm not going away for a while because I don't have anything else to do. There is a funny thing about this though. It becomes a game, right? Asking for money becomes a game. It's a joke. And the chat understands that because the chats are smart. So you ask, how can I support in the chat without ever having an intention to support in the chat, just to derail the show? And the show becomes about the show and it's funny. That's just normal human interaction. There's nothing interesting or special about that. but we're on grifting. So the Pachamama event was a nothing burger. Who cares if he wasn't a candidate to be Pope in the first place. He's not a Catholic. We don't even know if any of the electors are valid anymore. Yeah. I used to think that there was a place for Catholic content, but then I realized the content wasn't actually Catholic. It was secular. They're dumbing down the truth. Well, you have to view things as a model-based system. There's a picture I drew once. Here it is. Summon the epic pen. I don't need system audio. So this is how knowledge works. You have general and simple knowledge, complex and specialized knowledge. Here's your theology. Here's your revelation. In a general sense, they can be interchangeable. And this is what normal people live in. Sadovacantism is not necessarily in this box. And the more further out you get, the more autistic you get. Autism. And what actually happens is the more specialized you become, the more you move along the arrow. So that's supposed to be an arrow. The more you enter into this gray zone, and it makes you unable to communicate with other people. So when Dr. Jonathan Sanford, my teacher at a Franciscan university, I think he's at Dallas right now, would talk about philosophy. He said he never talked philosophy at home. And the reason why is because it crosses the barrier, the green barrier, to where it becomes completely hypothetical and unrelated from the actual life he lives at home with his family. Like, the nature of family does not make Dr. Sanford mow the lawn. So he still has to mow the lawn, but he'd rather talk about the nature of family. And so when a lot of people discover that they can go further and further into the boundary, past green into the gray, they start to have this huge sensation that they are intelligent. They are doing something. Blue Jays? What's the name of the Toronto baseball team? Weird text message there. So you read Revelation like Anthony Abate did a year ago, and you go into the gray area, and you're like, oh my goodness, I've never had these thoughts before. This is great. This is fantastic. I'm smart. I've become amazing. I've done something that no other person has ever done. What happens is you head towards autism if you're actually a smart person. But what most of the time these people do is they actually just simply divert over here. Let's make this bigger. Or down here into this yellow area. And they didn't actually learn anything, and they aren't actually smart. Because actual smart people understand how to balance everything. Actual smart people like Bishop Sanborn is able to give you complexity in a way that you won't exactly understand. He has to dumb it down and then bring you up. A lot of podcasters, they discover knowledge and then they run into some weird hypothetical thing where Abate literally makes up passages of scripture to justify whatever he's thinking. It's literal Gnosticism. It's like the Pope can't be a heretic, and then Abate says the Pope can be a heretic. Well, why can the Pope be a heretic? Well, because in this certain case, if he is a heretic, answers this problem that I have, since I have this problem, therefore he can be a heretic. The Pope can't be a heretic. It's a contradiction in terms, because he's the head of the body, meaning he's a member of the body. Heretics are not a member of the body. How do we move from a general and simple knowledge to complex things. You encounter problems and you try to solve them. You don't have to be a saint of a contest to go to heaven. You just have to be a traditional Catholic, but you have to have valid sacraments, which might mean you might have to do a little more studying than normal. But this is what the problem that people actually encounter is they head straight for autism and for speculative knowledge, and they get this huge dopamine rush that they've thought now for the first time in their life. And have they really? I mean, I've read very difficult, complex books. I've read Sartre, I've read Ponty, I've read Nietzsche. And guess what? Most of those people are rambling, retard podcasters. That's all they are. They made one or two good points, and then the rest of the time, they're just rambling. There's no difference from avoiding Babylon to Nietzsche. And then you go and read Majorian, our good friend Majorian, friend of the show. And he's like, man, I was reading Nietzsche today, my daily Nietzsche reading. Man, it was deep. And it's like, it wasn't deep. It was retarded, just like it was the last time you read it. What are you talking about? It wasn't deep. He made one or two good points in his life, and the rest of the time he was just rambling, throwing words out. And then the words resonate with you because you're a human being, and words resonate with human beings. You know, only some people are called to go into the gray area. Only some people are called to be amazing and great. Most of the time that you are really smart, all you will do is isolate and alienate your own audience. Keep getting text messages. So what was the point? Why were you going into the special knowledge area? For your own dopamine? For your own pride? Like, why? This is why I stopped trying to teach theology so much, because to me, theology is the gray area. Because I'm not a theologian. It's a novel thing. And that's another problem with grifting with these podcasters. It's a lot about novelty. No one has ever said we're in the final age of the world. Y2K, the end of all time. You're like, was it? No, it wasn't. Okay. No, by 2030, it's the end of the world. Is it? No, it won't be. Don't worry about it. Keep calm, keep praying, keep living your life. The dollar's going to collapse. I remember in 2012 saying the dollar was going to collapse. And then it didn't collapse. I was an idiot. I was very stupid. But if you understand the logic of the system, the dollar does collapse. And then it didn't collapse. If you understand the logic of the system, the cardinals make the pope. But then the Sadists have no cardinals. If you understand the logic of the system, the American empire controls the entire world. We should go to war with everyone, but we don't. Like, you can make up all this stuff forever. You can forever talk about the logic of the system. The logic of the system is the Dodgers have the best baseball team ever. They're always going to win the major leagues this year, or whatever it's called, the World Series. They're always going to win. They came pretty close to losing last year. But according to the logic of the system, in other words, you don't actually know the logic of the system. And you're a podcaster, so you don't listen. You don't understand. It's not that the only appropriate medium is a book, but it's that a book sets you up to, in a more passive and mental way, understand difficult concepts. And most of the time, people just like to rant. Abate discussing complex ideas and topics. Are you sure he's not mastering wiping his arse yet? We don't know. He will tell you that he doesn't claim to be intelligent, followed by the next day him interpreting scripture. The dude is literally psycho. And it's taking a lot of people a lot longer to find this, because here's something about Abate that people really don't get. On raw intelligence, he's very stupid. On verbal intelligence, he's extremely smart. And people confuse verbal intelligence with raw intelligence. If you had to say someone has to walk their way out of or talk their way out of a problem, Abate 9 times out of 10 can. He's that smart. Someone has to think their way out of a problem. 9 times out of 10, he will fail. But because human beings communicate through their mouths, Abate can sound intelligent without being intelligent. It's like Trump. Trump, I think, is retarded. I think Kamala Harris is literally incapable of dressing herself. But somehow she can say words in a way that, like, oh, I understand her. She's with me. Hillary Clinton's the most evil person in the world. I'm with her. How did you get 50 million people to vote for you? Because you said words? So we greatly underestimate, and this is why trads and cities we fight so much, is because we're trying to figure out what's the actual value of words and what do we actually believe, and do we just enjoy listening to words? Because Kevin Davis enjoys listening to words. He does. There's no brain there sometimes. There is a brain there sometimes, but there's no brain sometimes. You explain to Anthony Abate with Mario Dirksen that every single interpretation of scripture he does is wrong. Next week, he will say the same exact thing as if you never had that conversation. Nothing comes in. It only comes out. Then why did you talk to him? Because you wanted to have the conversation too. It's like, you need to have some humility, and it's not easy. I'm not, it's like, I give Kevin Davis a hard time because he's put himself into a really difficult position, and I wish I could help him, but he doesn't need my help. He doesn't want my help, and he wouldn't take it anyway. But when I say things like, we don't know what side Catholic Family Podcast is on, it's because they don't know what side they're on. It's difficult. You might have had to think for 10 years, how do I resolve the political problem in America before opening your mouth? Instead, they opened their mouth first and thought second. It's an invalid government. There you go. That solves the problem. Why is it invalid? Do you have an hour to listen to me rant? That's where we're at. But because if it's an invalid government, the content stops. Just like Prevost is an invalid pope. Okay, the content's done. Now we're just drama chasing. It doesn't help a podcaster to be able to see things in black and white. It actually hurts podcasting to see things black and white. You have to have the drama. You have to have the never-ending keeping on going, the never-ending self-importance. It has to be never-ending. Because otherwise you'd say what you said and you'd turn off the camera. And nobody does this except for maybe the American state privationist. And then he gets an interview with pre-Vatican II Catholic YouTube channel, and he does a terrible job. I can't figure it out. Oh. I was reading the Confessions 3 years ago again. And all I get from reading sometimes is that people are very emotional. Like, I love Augustine because Augustine is the most insane podcaster in the world. Augustine is always like flipping tables. And he's such a fun read for that reason, except it's theology. And so then it's kind of awkward. No, reading doesn't necessarily help you at all. It's horrible. I wish we could just say, just read this book. Like Bishop Sanborn, just read Murray Rothbard on economics and fix all your economic issues or your historical issues. Like, it doesn't work that way. This is where TLM Ryan is right, and we just need to like get along the best we can. No, he doesn't. The doctor, Chicken, he's like actually a busy professional. Indian guy who comes on the Sailcast. Which Indian guy? The Sailcast is Phil, myself, and John. Yeah, smart people are often stupid because they don't. It's really hard to take everything into account. This is why Abate plays this game of, I don't know everything. I don't know everything. I'm figuring it out for myself. It's that the Pope can't be a heretic is very simple. God protects the Pope, which protects the church. Heresy hurts the church, therefore God protects the Pope from heresy. We know he's the Pope because he never does heresy. If he does heresy, then he's not the Pope. It's very simple. All you have to do now is know the Catholic faith, but he doesn't know the Catholic faith. I don't listen to Dr. Deep State because I stopped listening to that content, that type of content, because I found it didn't do anything productive. Like, I actually, unironically, do not listen to a lot of Catholic content anymore. Just, it's too much regurgitation, too much the same thing coming in. The novelty level goes down. How much pleasure I get from it goes down. And at that point, I might as well watch a LeBron James video, LeBron James flop videos, which is something I enjoy watching a lot. Like, you shouldn't be married to your position, that unless it's like something you've personally worked on, just because it's there to listen to. Like, I watch hours of content every day. Excuse me. I watch hours of content every day, and when people do this thing like this, it's just people not having more ideas. Like, American Reform roasted me really hard on Twitter, which is why I have them blocked, because half of the people I follow are Jews. Murray Rothbard, great intellectual, he's a Jew. You know, Walter Block, a Jew. Ludwig von Mises, a Jew. Therefore, all your thoughts are invalid. And it's like, if that's the way you're going to argue, you're not arguing based on the merits of the thoughts themselves. You're not actually thinking through the systems and trying to understand them. You're just trying to not have to think. I'm right. You follow Jews. That's the end of the conversation. It might be true, but it isn't always true. It's too simple. This is a really interesting thing because I've actually, because I wrote Gambits, the book, originally as an exploration of Austrian economics and anarcho-capitalism in a futuristic world based on my study of Pearl Harbor. When our friend John the Fool started to read the book, he got a completely different understanding of the text than I did writing it. And that's really, it really taken him back at that, because I write in a very systematic way, I think. So, like, I turn on the computer, I sit down in the chair, I move the mouse, I watch the screen goes to where I want it to go. Like, it's sequential and logical. And he's like, well, this guy's sitting in a chair? Why didn't he turn it on and walk out and come back? Doesn't he know computers take a while to start up? Like, this guy's retarded. What is he doing? What now? He's just sitting there in the chair? Like, the mental gymnastics that he does to my own work is so confusing to me that I pretty much started crashing out as soon as he started to read the book. And it was really difficult to listen to, because you can't get the same thing out of life as everybody else. And this is, again, why some people like TLM Ryan, I think you should just be charitable towards. Some people like Anthony Botta, you should just attack nonstop. Because I don't think some people have brains. Like, some content creators don't have brains. Some content listeners don't have brains. It's just a fact of the matter. I don't think Steven Heiner has a brain sometimes. I don't think Kevin Davis has a brain. I don't think Mario Dirksen has a brain sometimes. I don't think Chris Jackson has a brain sometimes. Like, you're dealing with a bunch of people. I don't think I have a brain all the time. Well, go watch last night's episode. Half of that show, I did not have a brain. Half of the show was just stupid brain rot content. Just blah, 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 blah. I like repeating Jews, Jews, Jews. It's like the same thing. It's all the same thing. Oh, look it. I read another Chris Jackson article. The world is bad. These fake popes are fake popes. Unbelievable. Mario Dirksen. It's the same thing. We all repeat ourselves in so much. It's so boring. But that's how human beings are. So it's like, I don't know how to fix this. I don't know. I may know what to believe as a Catholic. I'm not sure what a Catholic does. What is the best way to learn how to do what a real Catholic do besides using the Missal for prayers, examples, devotions? Yeah, I would just devotions. Like, if you want to know more, you just like start to read litanies every day and try to think through why they do that.
You go read Lives of Saints. Try to understand how they see the world. Because a lot of the Catholic religion is actually a romantic relationship you have with God, but it's inverted because you're the woman. So you have to sit there and wait for God, and you're supposed to be the perfectly pure virgin who never sullies herself and just simply goes about her day trying to increase her value, like your household chores that add nothing to you, while you contemplate the suffering of God for you. Like, if you can do that, you're probably a saint. But that's a lot of what the Catholic religion actually is about. And, like, I don't know how you do that. I do think that you learn it passively. You learn it passively from just sitting there. I hate art. Most art I hate. Art is horrible. I like things that I can actually like interact with. So I like anime because I can talk about it. But like if you go and look at art, it's like, hey, it's art. I really don't view art very differently than I do anime. So like if you see saint stories in art and they'll be like, oh, Saint Anthony of Padua and the donkey. It's like, haha, there's Saint Anthony of Padua and the donkey. That's funny. Haha. Okay, what's the point? Like I really do wonder what's the point of half of all art. And like people are always, especially trads, they have this, oh, this is art is amazing and great. And I love Mozart. I think Mozart's terrible. Most of the time, Mozart's terrible. You put it on because you put it on. Who cares? It's all brain rot. I really do think half of everything is all brain rot. I think half of everything that Bach wrote is terrible. He should burn it. And then we always have this thing. Oh man, but it was high art back then. Wow. It's like, okay, fine. If that's your thing, then just make it your thing. Stop trying to universalize your thing. If you love Taylor Marshall, go ahead and love him. Keep it to yourself. Who cares? Stop trying to bother me with what you like, because then we have to fight. Gustave Doré. Oh, yes. Oh, Gustave Doré. Is Abate still responding to me? I never claimed to be smart or humble. I never claimed to be anything other than what I am. If you think I'm dumb, don't watch. I'm not sure all you do. Huh? I love this. This cope. Let's put that on the screen. Put it on the screen. If you want to go to hell, this is what you do. I never claimed to be smart or humble. He has actually claimed to be humble. He literally claimed to be humble about the 15-minute mark in the video with the Esquire. I never claimed to be anything other than I am. I've never claimed to be anything other than I am. He types like Sadie Picante. If you think I'm dumb, don't watch. I'm not sure why you watch or why you all would do. We watch because you're dumb. The most fun in the world right now, the current meta is to watch dumb people. You can't fix people. This is another reason why like the whole idea why I became a drama streamer instead of a theology streamer was because I just realized after a while you can't fix people, you can't help people. I'd rather spend my whole time tearing stupid arguments down and ridiculing them than trying to help people, because at the end of the day, you got to help yourself. I can't do it for you. Maybe a priest can do it for you because he's a priest, he's got power and authority, but I can't do it for you. And if this podcast does it for you, be sure to press the like button. Yay! It's so retarded. This whole world is so dumb. Oh, I'm one of the most humble people in the world. My humility is unmatched. No, but like you are literal. The traditional Catholic world is a literal insane asylum run by freaks and weirdos who have no idea what they're doing. That's what the truth is. That we just all don't want to admit it. And then Serie Picante kicks his heels up because he just gets annoyed with people. Then people ban me. I'm banned by Nova Soda Watch. I'm blocked by Nova Soda Watch. I would like to know what Nova Soda Watch talks about, but I'm too radical. No, I'm too stupid. I'm too insane. I'm a retard to him. I'm a proud, arrogant bastard to Nova Soda Watch, and maybe I am. So it's like, yeah, that's just the life. That's the world we live in. That's what we got to stew in. So let's just keep stewing in it. Like, let's stop trying to pretend we don't live in this world. Anyway, I've been randomly talking for no reason at all for like an hour and 10 minutes. So I should probably, helping people practice virtues not on the internet by a podcaster does nothing except make you more proud. This is another thing. Like every single podcaster participates in the currency called virtue signaling. Every single one. And like, it doesn't matter whether you're a trad, whether you're a sede, it doesn't matter. You're going to participate in this virtue signal thing. That's the currency you live in. Visual medium is it's the currency is virtue signaling. You can't actually practice humility on a camera unless you're like a really, really, really holy person. It just doesn't happen. That's not the point of the camera. You're looking in the wrong place for the virtues. And a lot of people just really don't get this because they're so enamored. They just love that record button, the almighty dopamine button. That's what it is. And it's like, it's a never ending drug addiction is every time you press that record button. And I'm well aware of this. Most of us are. But what are you going to do? Everybody who turns on a camera to watch someone else or to be watched is just there tapping that dopamine addiction button. And that's life. That's normal life. That's how people normally act. That's how normal people have always acted. Why do people go to pubs in England? Because that's the dopamine button. Why do people gossip? The dopamine button. Why do people go to sports? The dopamine button. 90% of your life is just hitting that dopamine button over and over and over again. You get that brain happy. Why do I drink coffee? Dopamine. Like that's life. We can't fix it. And these trads who think they can fix it, I'm going to go in there and give them real good content, though. Real good, holy content that's going to be holy. No, you're doing literally the same thing as them, same currency, and this whole idea that we can just, I'm doing the same thing, but it's trad, therefore it's okay. It's Catholic, therefore it's okay. It's like, no, you're doing literally the same thing that everybody else did. Reading the Summa Theologica for a lot of traditionalists is a huge giant dopamine button. It's a huge virtue signaling button. It's a huge I'm better than everybody else button. It's nothing about what the point of the book actually is. And that's the way traditionalists actually act. And they can't see it. Most of us can't see it. Like, it's hard to be able to see it. And so this is where you say, oh, should you be virtuous? And it's like, should you be humble? Should you treat people well? It's like, yeah, but it's an endless war that you can't win. So why are you fighting the endless war? You have to be smart about your time at some point. Yay. We like nuns. Nuns are cool. Yeah. Everyone's in love with their own power. It's you literally have to either be a saint or you never talk. If you actually want to be the best Catholic you can ever be, you just never talk. And it's incredibly hard, and you offer it up. That's like the actual way of the cross. You only talk if you have the office to talk. Human beings don't act like that. So it's like, I don't know. I give up. I'm just going to be insane. Because in insanity, I hope that people can realize, oh yeah, the other person's dumber than me. The insane man with the Muppet might have a point. And we can all have a good laugh. We can all have a good time. We all be happy. Because if you're happy, I think you will make better life decisions. And I like being happy. I also like having shows. Yeah, a bit. This is also something, right? There's tons of free books on the internet. Like, what this should actually be is like, let our light shine before men. What there should actually be is some smaller content creators who just read free to read online books and have study groups. They do that actually. Catholic Family Podcast does that with some books, and they talk about them. But that's something you have to actually do. It's not like, we're reading the life of a soul with 500 viewers. That'll never happen. You'll get 15. You'll get 5. And maybe that's what you have to do and just be happy with it. But like, I don't know. Anyway, end the stream. I've been talking for no reason. I also didn't like say everything I wanted to say. I wanted to talk because I haven't done one of these in a while. Oh yeah, enjoy your Lent. Have a wonderful day. All that jazz. Goodbye. End the stream.